There's something endlessly fascinating about modular synthesis. This sprawling hands-on world of patch cables, blinking lights, and sonic possibility. It's not just about making sounds, it's about exploration, discovery, and learning to think like an architect of audio. For me, modular is where inspiration and experimentation collide, where every patch is a new journey and every mistake teaches you something you didn't expect. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. There's a learning curve, there's frustration, and sometimes it feels like you're chasing ghosts through a maze of modules. But once you start to understand it, once you feel the system responding to your touch, it becomes one of the most rewarding creative experiences that you can have. Today, I want to take you on a tour of my modular setup, show you what I'm working with, what inspires me, and how all these pieces come together to create something mesmerizing. I've also compiled a complete list of all my modules on my website, so if you're interested in following along or checking out some of these pieces of gear yourself, the link is down below in the description. So sit back, relax, and let's dive into my modular rig. Okay, welcome everybody to the modular rig. I thought we would do a modular tour here this morning. It might be fun to kind of show you guys what's going on my modular rig. There's a lot going on here, so pardon the mess. I am just going to go through each module one by one. Last night I put together an entire gear list. So if you guys are interested in modular, you can browse my gear list on my website, and you can see, what these modules are all about. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. I'm gonna bring up this patch that I just created. This is on the Archaea Loki. I'm gonna do a video about this module very soon. It was sent to me by Archaea, who is good friends with Dawn and Sean from Isostatic. And I'm really excited about it. It's a really great monosynth. So we're gonna come back to this in a second, but that's what you're hearing. You're hearing the sound of the Oxy 1, just kind of running this stochastic sequence, and that is being sent out. The gate is being sent to this radar up here, which we'll talk about in a second, and the frequency is being set to the Loki, and so the envelopes are going one to the filter and one to the actual VCA. So yeah, like I said, part of the mess here, work in progress, but there's a lot going on. So anyway, let's go through each module one by one, and then you guys can hopefully understand how this whole thing comes together, all right? So over here let's start over here on the left-hand side. This is beads. I actually got this from my friend Martin Sturzer. He sold it to me when I was out in Germany. And beads is an interesting granular, they call it a texture synthesizer. This is out of print, as you know. Some of you know that all mutable instruments are out of print now. The owner decided to sort of put away the company. However, there are copies or clones of mutable instruments modules. However, beads was the only one that did not receive the open source firmware. So I was looking for beads for a long time, and when I got to Germany, Martin's like, I'm selling my beads. I'm like, I'll take it, hands down. So beads is really interesting. I don't know if we can patch a source of sound in here. Let's see if we can actually grab something from, let's see if that will now maybe a longer cable. Let's go ahead and grab one of the outputs here, put it into beads, and then we'll try to put beads back into our patch here. I'm patching into a mixer here. This is the Aikido mixer. There we go. So beads is going to take a sample of what's going on here and give us some beads, as you hear. Sounds very interesting. I love beads. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's totally modulatable. And that's one of the things that I love about modular, is that all the things that you can do, in modular synthesis are very, how should I say, they can be modified, they can be modulated, so to say. And it's kind of like the final level if you think about it. You know, like you're out there and you're trying to put music together, and then once you reach this point, it's kind of like, oh my god, like I'm never gonna get bored of this. You know. So anyway, that's beads. Beads is a granulizer. I can adjust the size here. I can adjust the shape, the density. Make some more random as you go to the right. Make some more linear as you go to the left. Really nice for textures and stuff. Definitely got its place. It's up to time here. So that's beads. Okay, now to the right of that is a buffered multiplier. Now this is just a simple utility. You can see how small this module is. This is a buffered mult, which means that I can take signals and make copies of the signal. So if I have, say, an audio signal that I want to listen to in multiple different places, I put it in the top and I have 4 copies here. I have another one down here. Very simple, 2 HP utility. However, this is very useful, especially when you're trying to copy modulation and to accept CV and audio signals. So that's interesting. Now, this right next to it is the most loved and hated module I think ever made. This is the Disting. This is the Mark IV version. And the reason why people hate the Disting is because the menu diving is just absolutely ridiculous here. You have to like push the encoder down and like move the screen. However, it can do a whole lot. And right now it's just set up as a tuner to tune the oscillators. But you can use it for so much more. It's a delay, it's a reverb, it's an oscillator, it's an LFO, it's pretty much everything. That's what Disting means, like this thing, Disting. And they've made different versions. So this is just the, like Mark IV version. Then they came out with the EX, and now they have the NT. And I've heard really good things about the NT. So perhaps one day I'll do a, full dive into the NT version. However, I don't mind the smaller form factor. I've kind of gotten used to it. So that's that. It's this thing. I use it for a tuner right now. However, sometimes I'll use it for a quantizer. It pretty much does everything you'd want. It covers a lot of different ground here with modules and synthesis and stuff. So it's really cool. Very highly useful. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Your mileage may vary. Anyway, so next to that is the Pluck. Now, I don't have a Rings, which is another Mutable Instruments module. I wish I did. But the Pluck is a close second. Pluck is only a 2 HP. It's made by 2 HP. It's a very small form factor module. However, it gives a nice pluck. Let's see if we can actually patch this gate out and get some pluck going. So we'll trigger it. And let me go in here and set the gate here. So we're gonna set 2 to go out. And let's go ahead and, I don't know if it's gonna be pitched right. We'll see. It's not pitched right, of course. See if we can get some volts per octave here going on. There we go. There we go. So as you can hear, that's kind of a nice sound, right? I really like that. I mean, I'm actually quite into the sound of Pluck. It's got a nice damper, knob here. So you can make some really nice, gentle plucks. I was doing that on Instagram the other day. Anyway, so that's Pluck. Highly useful. Those 2 HP modules are really good. I mean, they're cheap, they're small. If you have a smaller case, that would be, highly advisable. Anyway, next to that is plates. Some people call it plats, some people call it plates. Plates is amazing. Let's go ahead and just patch plates in here. And you can hear plates is like, okay. Now, what people love about plates is it's got a bunch of different algorithms here, including this one, which I don't even know what it's called. This is red number 3, I call it. I mean, what's not to love? So, plates is Plates comes in cloned editions and the original. This is the original. I bought it right before Mutable went out of business. And it's hard to say they went out of business. I think they just sort of like, the owner just said, hey, enough's enough. Legendary module company. I mean, Absolutely, it's run by one person. But anyway, Plates has been cloned now because the firmware is open source, so you can find this in Eurorack. You can also find it in hardware form and other ways. But it's highly loved just because it's so versatile. Like, you can do so much with it. It's basically, if I had to recommend a starter oscillator for modules or for Eurorack, go with Plates. Can't go wrong with Plates or clone, because they're basically exactly the same. I think I bought this in 2023. Like, one person who was selling it still brand new. So I bought it brand new. Anyway, that's Plates. Plates is awesome. Next to that, I have a filter. This is a simple 4-pole 24 dB filter. I use that a lot. This right here is the pipe. It's called the Oxy pipe. And the pipe is actually used for the Oxy itself. So this is the Oxy 1. This is sort of the brains of the operation. If you guys can see that farther down, I'll hold it up here. Oxy 1. The Oxy 1 Mark II just came out, so that's exciting. It kind of doubles up the features of the original. This is the original. It's basically like a push inside of for modules, you know what I mean? Like, but it's not quite that. I mean, there's so much more here, and it's really tailored to modular. I think if you try to use this with a DAW, it wouldn't make as much sense because there's so much CV control. Anyway, so this is the breakout box. It does have the outputs right here on the back. However, you'd have to run cables all the way out to the, actually your board itself. So you don't need the pipe. However, the pipe just kind of, it doesn't even need power. It just needs this HDMI cable, which is really interesting. So yeah, that's the pipe. Now, next to that is one of my favorite modules. This is Pizza. Pizza's nuts. I'll show you why. Let me go ahead and plug in Pizza here. Let's see if we can get some sound. Let's go ahead and tune this thing. That's one thing about modules is you have to tune them, to like whatever you're playing in. Like, you really got to work on the tuning. Anyway, this isn't really going to be in tune, but let's go ahead and play with it anyway. Oh yeah. Ah yeah. That's that sound. So you can imagine how like crazy this would be for drones and stuff. I mean, that's what I use it for. It's wild. Wave shaping, wave folding. Anyway, Pizza's absolutely nuts. I love it. There's so much you can do with it. You can use it as a pluck, you can use it as a pad, you can use it as a drone, you can use it as a bass. Crazy. Anyway, next to that is one of my newest modules. This is the Resonant Filter Bank. And this is a filter. It's modulatable. It's also like an EQ. And each band is modulatable, which I was really highly attracted to. It's really cool. Let's go ahead and put Pizza through the filter bank. Let's go ahead and put that out there. And you guys can obviously see how much I love modular. It's so much fun. So we'll go to filter. We'll go filter here. And we'll start playing with it. You can get really crazy with the resonance knob here. Oh yeah. And the filter bank is interesting. So you can do it on filter bank, and you can randomize the filter bank. So I can randomize all. Get some really cool tones, just like by randomizing the filter bank. Really interesting stuff. And each one of these is modulatable, so you can modulate, say, the band number 5 or band number 9. Anyway, really interesting stuff. So that's the filter bank. Still working with that. Gonna learn more about it in the coming days. And this is the Aikido mixer. Now this is a 4-channel mixer. And what I love about this mixer, I realize we're still listening to some of these modules over here. What I love about the mixer is it's like a performance mixer almost. So you have mute switches up here at the top, you have faders, and I was really drawn to that. It's also a VCA, so you can do like envelope stuff with this. You can also do side chaining with this, and spectral side chaining. It's crazy, like real crazy. So that's the mixer, and I pretty much either I go through cloaks, which is Veil's clone right here, or I go through this. So either one, like, but I highly prefer actually the Casper Bastel Aikido. It's really good. It's just like, yeah, it's a very powerful mixer. Actually, the more I use it, the more I love it. So next to that is the Oct, and this is 8 LFOs that are all cascading. So the top LFO is faster than the bottom one. This is made by Instruo, and I just picked up the expander, which is a really good acquisition, because the expander basically connects to the Oct and gives you 16 more outputs here. High quality stuff here. So we have unipolar LFOs, we have these sort of like randomized things, and you got some randomized triggers, and then randomized sample and hold. Love that. Blank panel here, another one coming for this slot. Sorry about the mess here. And then above that is the Loki again, which we've been listening to the entire time. Really cool stuff. And next to that is the Ikari filter. Now I bought the pizza and the Ikari at the same time. The Ikari is a filter. It's kind of a wild filter, and it really pairs well with the pizza, I think. But I have it next to the Loki because it's just really interesting. You know, you can like do FM and stuff. Like, it's all kinds of crazy. So anyway, we talked about cloaks. This is basically the same thing as the Aikido. It's a little more, I use it a little more as just a straight VCA, which I think it's really good for. And next to that is actually one of my newest modules. I bought these at the same time, the multi-mod and the resonant filter bank. Now the multi-mod is an interesting module because it takes modulation signals and it copies them 8 times, and then you can play with the phasing and the spread. So I just put an LFO here from Oct, and then we'll go ahead and take a multi-mod signal here, and maybe we'll put something into the we'll put it into plates here. We're listening to beads actually. Let's put that into beads. There we go. So now we're modulating the pitch of beads. And we can mess with the spread here, we can mess with the time. And again, that's coming from Oct. So the Oct modulation is going into multi-mod, and then that's going out, and it's going to beads, and then I have 7 other copies of that. So it like takes the modulation and multiplies it, hence the name multi-mod. I love that. Oh my God, this sounds good. I love it. I love it. I love it. So anyway, that's multi-mod. I have yet to explore more of this. It's gonna be really fun. Good stuff here. So anyway, that's multi-mod. Now next to that is a very large module. You can see how big this is. This module is made by Schlappy Engineering, and it's called the Threebody. Now, Threebody, the name of it stands for like this 3-body problem. Like if you have more than 3 planets orbiting around a star, then you get some gravitational stuff. It's really actually quite an interesting module. And when I say interesting, that's an understatement. As you can see, all of these are outputs down here on the bottom. So the sine wave, triangle wave, sawtooth, square wave, and so on and so forth. And what makes it crazy is that you can use all of the outputs as modulation sources for all of the inputs here on the top. So you have like FM, FM index, phase, all that stuff. So it can really start getting crazy, especially when you consider the tuning of the oscillators, how you can modulate that. I mean, it's actually kind of wild. So let's do an audio sample of this. Let me see, that cable's not long enough. I need one more long guy. It's always ergonomics here with the modular rig. Now you really got to tune this stuff properly in order to get your sound right. And I use this for like deep drone work. You know, I found it's really good. It's basically a sound lab in module form. There we go. So we do that. Now watch this. You can take the cosine output and start modulating the phase 1 of itself. So watch this. Oh yeah. And then if you don't patch anything in, it's going to start modulating itself. Like that. I love it. So much fun. Oh my God, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. We still have like, what, 12 outs left to go. I mean, you can just continually do this and just say, all right, well, let's take this and let's do the phase 2 index. It's kind of crazy. Different waveforms produce different shapes. You do high, low, FM linear. Oh my God. It's like I said, it's basically a sound laboratory inside. And now again, that was all from just the sine wave. Wild stuff. Okay, so anyway, that's the Threebody. Really gonna, I mean, that's pretty much in every single patch now. I don't do a patch without it now. Anyway, next to that is a mixer. This is a simple like mono mixer. However, this actually mixes signals. So you can mix different, you can combine different signals here. You can also combine different audio. However, I'm using it as like a, audio mixer to kind of create some new LFO shapes. That's kind of cool. It was a gift. It's a great module. I actually kind of like it. Yeah, it's there. And it's also, it's a great little utility to have. Now, next to that is a tempi. Now, this is interesting because, I thought I was going to use a tempi more than I did. However, I found that, with all my triggers and all my gates now that I have all over the place, like, I find myself using less of that because of the Oxy. So if you didn't have an Oxy one, you might need something like a tempi to keep your clock. If you're doing clock from like, I don't know, just want to keep everything in time. However, the Oxy does the same thing because it is a clock and you have CV and gate here. So I get to, I'm really going to start exploring this when I do generative stuff, because you can send 6 channels out. I might send those up here. We'll talk about this in a second. This is the envelope generator. But it's really interesting to have it there. And it's, an alternative to this would be Pam's new workout, something like that. Yeah. And there's a lot of weird button combinations too. I still have to learn all the button combinations. Anyway, so that's tempi, the clock. And then over here is the chaos. Now this is a Behringer. This is my only Behringer module. It's a copy of Marbles. So like I said, Mutable made their stuff open source, and they, obviously just gave everything to the world. Said, hey, go crazy. And this was one of the results of it, was a cheap, copy of Marbles. And Marbles is an interesting idea to take these 2 different sides, the time value and the pitch value, and then like jumble them up, hence the name Marbles, right? So you can use this for like sequencing or modulation. Things can get really crazy and interesting here. So yeah, chaos, aka Marbles. So that's that. And then next to that is an LFO. This is simple. This is my first LFO. This is simple Phobos Lunar LFO. It just, triangles, sine, sawtooth, stairs, pulse wave. I'll use that in case I don't use the Oct or something like that, or I just need an LFO that's nearby. And next to that is Mass. Now, Mass is one of those modules where, to be honest with you, like, it's almost in everyone's rack. And some people don't even know why they need Mass. And then some people know exactly why they need Mass. Mass is one of the deepest modules ever created, I think. It's really not that deep, but the more you get into it, the more you realize how essential it is to any modular setup. It's quite good, and it's quite interesting. It's basically an attenuator, it's an envelope generator, it's an LFO, it's audio mixers. It's crazy. There's so many. I think it was one of those modules, reminds me of a Chase Bliss module where they made it not knowing what people were gonna do with it until it's out there, and then all of a sudden it's, it's out there. It's still in print, so it's basically one of those staples, along with plates. Plates and masks could get you pretty far, just those 2. Okay, so next to that is this really large section here. This is blip and radar. These 2 modules are actually a pair, and they're connected on the back. And this is radar. Is 8 different envelopes. So as you can see, these 2 cables are going out to the Loki, and they're just basically sending envelopes out to the Loki, which is interesting. And they're being triggered by the Oxy over here. So I use this as my main envelope generator, and I have 8 of them, which is the reason why I have my case so big is because I had to fit the radar in here. the radar has become, even though it's a huge module, it's like 30 HP, it's become an essential part of my setup. So gotta have envelopes. You can never have enough VCAs, you can never have enough envelopes, and there you go. So that's 8 of them. The expander kind of expands on this. I really have to learn all the button combinations here because I know that it can do a lot of cool stuff with like generating, you know, new envelopes. I don't think I have enough sources to like use the whole thing, but you can definitely do some cool generative stuff. You can also trigger it from something like the Tempi or even from this Oct expander. There's a lot of options there. Okay, so that's radar and blip. And then finally, we have clouds. And clouds, this is a clone of the original clouds. This is another Mutable Instruments creation here. And what's interesting is clouds is the predecessor to beads. So we've been listening to the beads pretty much the whole time here. And clouds is over there. It's a stereo, it's like a reverb, it's a granulizer. I prefer beads myself, but clouds is definitely interesting and it's there, and you could use clouds if you didn't have beads, you know, as a replacement. I just think beads has a really cool sound to it, and I quite like the randomness of beads. Yeah, it's quite interesting. Anyway, so that's clouds, and up here is chord. I don't know if you can see this on camera. It's just a chord module. You can send out, you know, roots, thirds, fifths, sevenths, and a whole mix of a chord. I could tune that. So it's just an extra voice that's sitting up there, and there's a lot of empty space. I don't know if you can see this, but there's a lot of empty space here. I've got like, I don't know, 80 held points left to go. So yeah. Anyway. That's the current state of the modular rig right now. I'm having so much fun with it, as you can tell. I don't really think there's going to be an end to this. But you know what? I take it day by day. I learn as I go. You know, if you're thinking about getting into modular, it's a lot of, I'd say, studying. It's a lot of research. It's a lot of manual driving, you know, like reading manuals, and just hands-on exploration. But if you're really into that kind of thing, and you want to take on like a new sort of side to your whole, you know, production workflow. I mean, I was gonna say career, but I mean, for me it's career. For you, it might be just be like a hobby, or even, you know, like just a whole nother level of your self-expression. I think modular is definitely the way to go. And I'm really excited for the future, and I can't wait to keep showing you guys what this thing can do, because I'm still exploring it day by day, and I get to share it with you. So anyway, that's that. Go check out the modular gear list. It's on my website right now. I'll leave a link down below in the description of this video. And yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging with me. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take good care.